supposed to beat the clock, but God.
Beat the clock.
God. But you are so observant.
That's the day one by God, the gasoline draws.
There we go.
I miss dump truck.
That's my weapon.
I miss dump truck. All right.
Older brother's coming.
Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start the second show. The kicker off of am I framed up? Oh, thank you. And you can quote me. We have Richard Sanderell coming up here to kick off the second half. Bring him up with a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, or a rectangle of applause, or a square of applause, or something of applause.
Okay, let me make sure it's good for you.
Oh, it's always good for me, Dan. Is it good for you?
Well, you know, you got to watch those ankles.
Yes. Well, gee, I hope everybody had a great Veterans Day the other day. I heard there were a lot of good sales. All right. Just because you steal something doesn't mean you own it. This is still Indian country, and you do live on a lonely land. All right. How to fight back. Nobody knows how to fight back. Just bend over, take it.
No.
For some, maybe the best sex ever had. Heads are in the clouds and in the cloud. We're throwaway people by the time you understand that. It's too late. USA throws away poets, don't want truth dialogue where other nations honor, revere. Politicians, religious leaders aren't fond of poetry, usually too political. Much truth. There are new poets tormented, letting truths out, as well as those who soothe with poems about rocks. I'm Kerr, your mongrel poet, the little bastard still sitting on your shoulder, so you don't forget I'm your little bastard you screwed with like so many others, and you expect allegiance? Really? Happy Veterans Day! Everyone stand up! Right-wingers, Christians coming through, coming through, coming through, coming through, celebrating genocide. Fear of a colored poor planet. People who talk with paper assholes better watch, might catch a fire. Mitch McConnell would be surprised how many USA citizens would not shake his hand, or has he forgotten he gerrymandered his way into office? This a man we should respect for damage to the Republic while building up Empire USA? Your karma caught up with you, gave you a face of an unwise reptilian turtle whose only wisdom is manipulation, lies, befitting trickster himself as his forked tongue slithers in and out of mouth. Viper! Poisonous to human beings. This is the quality of leadership, as Nancy never found a war she didn't support or slow to react to the environment in any meaningful way. Always compromise on life-altering events. Compromise will not save us. Say must compromise we're going to get anything done. Ask civil rights workers if they would compromise. Thank you for those civil rights workers. They woke some human beings. Native people see these workers and were sparked their movement as they held the rock. Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah! A ho! Oh. Thank you to those who brought native black, yellow, brown, poor struggles forward. Citizens of USA can't say they didn't want to hear you. Now see what kind of compromise has wrought for all of us. leaving ghosts of flora, fauna, themselves behind as our world burns through our heads, buried in the sands of time. Oh, we say it can't happen here as it happens everywhere. I stood against you, USA, ever since I learned what you are, as well as you Christians who are anything but. Not what you pretend you are you? You destroyed language, made laws that was illegal, legal. You sent me to war, killing elders, men, women, children, based on lies you told our fathers, mothers, me. I stand against Christians who orchestrate genocide all around the world, killing human beings so they can go to their sky god, then canonize the murderers as saints while making profit from their land, labor, murder. How do you square that with your Jesus? USA, you've never been worth the water that runs down my drain. I respect those who died in your world wars, but you lied to them as well as in the war of empires. After all, USA, your industries have had their part in building Nazis.
No.
May the dead caused by your wars rise. Come for those who butchered humanity, keepers of the earth, denied their lives from the tip of the lands of the eagle to the other end, to the lands of the condor. Don't worry. After all, these ghosts don't carry old guns. Nothing scares white people more than an Indian with guns. Perhaps your fears comes from what your ancestors did and you continue to do. You think Indians are all dead while you were surrounded by them in your villages, towns, cities, and there are Indians maneuvering all around you. You didn't kill them all, not for the lack of trying. When you meet someone who is you assume they're Mexicano. Even through your plans, a blood quantum will not work. In theory, maybe. Native beliefs will be carried on. They're here to remind you what you did and continue to do. Your fear of a red, brown, black, yellow, poor planet is showing.
Whoa.
Richard Sandra. We'll be back at the end of this the second shot. Mose.
Mo.
Who's after him?
That's me.
Okay.
Buford after Mose.
That's me.
That's you.
Good.
Only one Mo. This is every man right here.
Nice coat.
It's a fucking beautiful coat.
That's what I'm saying.
My name is Mose.
Right, Mose.
MOS. You know me. You're here tonight because Monday was Veterans Day. And this piece is to my brother who survived, but 234 of his comrades did not survive. 3AA two-night battle, November 14th, 1965. November 14th, 1965. This is called Soldier Song. I'm a murderer. I'm a Marine. I'm a murderer. I'm a Marine. His rumbling, drunken refrain could not be heard over the funk sounds by the band Rocha. Betrayal Hill is celebrating itself. The drunk Marine staggers and falls. I kneel down. I smell liquor and shame on his breath. I lift up the old Marine. He's not present. His eyes are vacant, sad, lost. He has witnessed too much death. He hears his dead buddies calling him. Betrayal Hill, bright and shiny, happy music soars above the keto-eating young vegan families. Youth is so intoxicating. The old Marine disappears into the crowd. A vision comes to me, clear as polished chrome. The refrain of an old Irish tune floats above me, Golly Owen. My brother, at 20, is hunkered down in his foxhole for 3 days in November 1965. Beside him, 2 of his boot camp buddies. Carlos Fuentes, he repaired 4 trucks in Los Angeles, shot in the right eye, dead at 19. Thurman Goodbody, dead at 23. He was a janitor at the Bayview YMCA in San Francisco. Shot 3 times, shoulder twice, head once. My brother has been waiting to join them for 50 years. He's angry at God, angry at himself, angry for being alive. Is my brother a murderer? Will God stop him before he enters heaven? How many people will look into his dead eyes and ask, will you give me your pain? Will you forgive yourself for living? History sings my brother's song. The pages of war are filled with destruction and self-annihilation, roars through our ears if we sit long enough at a veteran's cemetery. The dead do not lie. War is self-hatred run amok. When will you listen to my brother's song? Okay. I know, it's real quick. This one came to me because someone wrote to me, quote unquote, "You are loved and precious. Don't forget that." So, this is called Love Sits Quietly Waiting. Love sits quietly waiting. Love smiles, says nothing. I'm on another rant. This time in reaction to all the whining and complaining about traffic, about car break-ins, and how the new DA won't prosecute. Prosecute whom? And why aren't you selling your fucking car, riding a bike, or taking a bus to your next short-term job, which may or may not be there in 5 years, thanks to Amazon and Walmart? Our house is on fire, and you complain about $4 gas and traffic tickets? Get out of your fucking cars and smell the fucking smoke.
Yeah.
Love pats me on the knee like I'm 5 years old again. Did your insomnia kick in again? Did everyone in the world ignore you again? Love sits quietly waiting. Love smiles, says nothing. I want to punch him in the fucking mouth. I'm a coward. I drink another whiskey. Then number 45 says something dangerous and stupid. Stupid people say stupid things. But his followers follow him anyway, right off the cliff. I begin another rant. When will an American politician say the truth? We don't want your stinking hourly jobs. We want you to share the wealth. Love sits quietly waiting. Love smiles, says nothing. I look at love. I toss my anger off into a dirt road like an old duffel bag I've been carrying all my life. The load is lighter. I feel good. Love sits quietly waiting. Love says in a Groucho Marx accent, buy yourself another whiskey. So you dumped your anger. What do you want? An medal? I ride the number 21 Hayes back home, leading love by the side of the old dirt road. Love sits quietly waiting. Love smiles, says nothing. At least I know now where he lives.
All right. And now we have Buford Bunting coming up. Give him a round as he comes up.
After Buford is John.
John? After Buford, but yeah, just so you know. You're next. All right.
I know.
This is called Books and Coffee.
Oh, great breakfast.
Books stand up straight or tilt on their shelves, mostly held up by adjacent books or book stands. Those of us sitting in various chairs at tables or maybe computers relax and want things to go quietly. A woman listens to something through headphones attached to a laptop. A cappuccino machine hisses.
Beautiful.
This is called The Only Thing. The only thing I know is that the U.S. is a greedy place with its greediest president ever. When I look around and see people starving in the street, I know I want change to get a better deal for those of us on the bottom of society and even those of us in the middle, just not such a greedy deal for the upper 1%. Democrats are greedy too, for most of them have what they need and then some. They're just not 1% greedy. That dishonor goes mainly to the Republicans.
And thank you so much, Jim. And after Don is? You know, one of my favorite Republican quotes was from Barry Goldwater, who said something like, you know, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, pretty soon you're talking real money. I was told that wasn't attributed in, but that's how I heard it, so. Your 1% humor, 90% suffering. Very.
Heir to a department store. Heir to a department store.
Okay, this is a
Oh, let me get,
continuation.
you have to really get close to it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put it up like this and you get like within like,
Okay.
you know, like that and then, there we go.
Okay. This is a continuation of the story I started last week. Negro Land. Here we go. Bro death, where are we? Called out the beautiful and brave young woman as her faith began to waver, coming out of a deep sleep. She had walked and walked through the forest. Upon coming upon a stream, she lay down to rest. Sounds of the forest soothed her into restful sleep. Awakening startled. The warm glow of love, however, overcame the wavering as Bro Death emerged from under. She recalled a sweet dream within the passage of time. She and Bro Death sealed a bond that was more than just friendship, much more than friendship. It was love. Bro Death who had the ability to assume any size, shape, noticed the nappy black hair surrounding the dugout. He enjoyed the aroma, the softness and the warmth of the dugout. He became intoxicated on the flowing aromatic liquid pouring out and downward to the bottom of the dugout. Sliding slowly downward from the top, he nestled onto a hooded bulge protruding from the top with soft lips of cover, the tip of an iceberg of enormous happiness. Bro Death drifted off to rhythms of quivers and quake. Happiness flowed freely. Beautiful and brave young woman, what has happened? Bro Death asked. In a strange way, we made love, she replied. I love you, Bro Death. Please love me too. I do. Tell me your name, my love. My name is Adjoa. I love you, Bro Death. I love you so much. They both paused and thought, how far can a interspecies relationship go? Can we have children? A family would be wonderful. The joy of newly found love was smacked across the face by a horrendous foul odor. Standing uphill, still concealed by the forest, they looked out on the coast. The foul odor was emanating from there. They turned to look at each other, exclaiming, and Nancy, the trickster, has tricked us. She spoke of a big house with many servants, was a fortress with a parapet, big guns facing outward in all directions, a smaller gun mounted to defend the castle keep facing the courtyard. Below are dungeons for the many servants, men shackled in chains, women bound by rope, children ran around the yard without supervision. Misery abounds. The human waste covered the grounds where they sat, lied, ate, and slept. The stench of it clung to their black bodies. Other black people, unchained and cleaner, tossed yams to the hungry, wretches, delirious by thirst and disease. You can eat and rest well there, Nancy had lied to them. You could have added as well as cattle in a corral, but cattle was treated with a higher standard.
Okay.
Just a little bit more. Okay. He has a big ship, the latest European model, Nancy had said. Correct. It was the biggest ship that had ever been seen. But even here, the deck was crowded with black bodies in chains. More black bodies shuffled down a pier, bound for smaller boats that ferried their cargo over. But Anansi would not have the last laugh, explained Bro Death. The breeze that flows over me gently lifts and scatters tiny pollens of pieces of my silk to the greater wind. Death still walks these lands. Nancy's eggs are safely nurtured within your womb, my love. They are snuggled tight with eggs of your own. We will raise them. They will travel the diaspora, adapting new things as they forget their distant mother, a Nancy. Look, there are white men. I've never seen white men, said Adjoa. Are they ghosts? They are just men, Adjoa. Do not be afraid, replied Bro Death. Okay, I have heard of the white God called Jesus. The white man are his kin. They carry with them at all times a cross that would summon him to words of encouragement and reassurance to her shadow oddly walking beside her and not falling behind her. She stopped before reaching them, shouting out, "I am Adjua, the beautiful and the brave. I am prepared. I am ready to follow my brothers and sisters into the African diaspora." That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Michael,
The one and the only Hal Robbins. Because there is the only.
There's no room.
There's no room for anybody else.
What the heck?
Who's next? Oh, Tommy, you're next. You understand that? You're next. Because after him.
To acknowledge the theme, I'm going to say an excerpt from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge. I woke, and we were sailing on, all in a gentle weather. 'Twas night, calm night, the moon was high, the dead men stood together. They stood together on which they looked, it never passed away. I could not draw my eyes from theirs, or turn them up to pray. And now this spell was snapped. Once more I viewed the ocean green, and looked far forth, but little saw of what had else been seen. Like one that on a lonesome road doth walk in fear and dread, and having once turned round, walks on, and turns no more his head, because he knows that close behind a frightful fiend doth tread. But soon I felt a wind on me, nor sound nor motion made. Its path was not upon the sea, in ripple or in shade. It stirred me hair, it fanned me cheek like a meadow gale of spring. It mingled strangely with my fears, but it felt like a welcoming. Swiftly, swiftly sailed the ship, though she sailed softly too. Sweetly, sweetly blew the breeze, on me alone it blew. Oh, dream of joy! Is this at last the lighthouse top I see? Is this the kirk? Is this the hill? Is this mine own country? We drifted o'er the harbor bar, and I with sobs did pray, oh, let me wake, dear God, or let me sleep alway.
Yeah.
And this one by Byron, Destruction of Sennacherib. The Assyrian came down on the fold, and his cohorts were gleaming with purple and gold, and the sheen on their spears was like stars on the sea, where the blue wave rolls nightly on deep Galilee. Like the leaves of the forest, when summer is green, that host with its banners at sunset was seen. Like the leaves of the forest when winter has blown, that host on the morrow lay withered and strown. For the angel of death spread his wings on the blast, and breathed in the face of the foe as he passed. And the eyes of the sleeper waxed deadly and chill, and their hearts but once heaved, and forever grew still. And there lay the steed with his nostril all wide, but through it there flowed not the breath of his pride, and the foam of his gasping was cold on the surf, and as chill as the beat of the night pounding surf. And there, distorted and pale, with the dew on his brow and the rust on his mail, the tents were all silent, the banners alone, the lances unlifted, the trumpets unblown. And the widows of Ashur are loud in their wail, and the idols are broke in the temple of Baal, and the might of the Gentile, unsmote by the sword, hath vanished away in the glance of the Lord.